Coming up in the pod, we've got Cannabis Keenan back in studios. We discuss the super meta movie, Last Action Hero. Run the theme.
If you want a movie review, look no further than these dudes. You got Real Buzz Rob on the mic, you got Cannabis Keenan, he's alright. Caitlin is giving all she can give, and Calvin doesn't even know where he is. This is Real Buzz Takes with the Real Buzz crew.
Welcome to another edition of Real Buzz Takes. We are the Real Buzz 2. I am Real Buzzed Rob.
You drunk fuck.
That's good. That's good.
And to my left, we have Keenan, a.k.a. Keenan the Cannibal, a.k.a. Cannabis Keenan, a.k.a. Keenan the Barbarian, Keenan Robertson.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper!
That's the best.
Oh, man. Somebody was driving around, and that scared the shit out of him right there when that drop hit.
Run! Get to the chopper!
That's good stuff. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Buzz Takes.
Yeah, we're recording again on a Tuesday after a Sunday recording because of the holidays. We're trying to get an extra one in so we can still release one every week.
Yeah, get it in.
Getting it in. Getting it in.
I'm always just trying to get it in, you know?
I think most of us are.
Even now that I'm settled down, I'm only trying to get it in one person, but, you know, I'm always trying to get it in.
Yeah, that's none of our business.
Yep. Anyway, moving on.
The movie we're reviewing today, which, if you couldn't tell from I said at the beginning, as well as the drops, Last Action Hero, release date was June 18th, 1993. Director was John McTiernan. John McTiernan is probably one of the most prolific action directors, 80s action directors in the history of directing. Before this, he directed Predator, Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, and then after this, he directed Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Thomas Crown Affair, Rollerball, not his best.
With the dude from American Pie?
Yeah, and LL Cool J.
Yeah, I know that.
And then that Samuel L. Jackson movie, Basic. I believe
Travolta's in that.
Travolta's in that as well.
I think that's got a Shyamalan twist at the end or something like that.
It does. It's got quite a few Shyamalan twists.
Yeah.
I've seen it a couple of times. It's okay.
I've been kind of wanting to watch it again. I saw it when I was a kid, but I mean, he's a Die Hard and Predator. He's got some fucking movies, man.
Dude, he's got to be raking in residuals from those movies. I mean, the last 40 years.
At the end credits, when those rolled, I saw Shane Black's name too, and I couldn't tell you what he's done, but he's a writer, and I know that he's written a lot of like action movies and stuff like that.
I read about Shane Black too. I don't know.
I think
he may have written this movie.
He was a writer on this movie.
Okay.
And then he went on to write other things, but I think he was kind of like, I could be way off on this, but I'm pretty sure he, like when he was like a teenager or something like that, wrote his first screenplay and sold it to Hollywood. So he's kind of been writing action movies for a long time, and it would make sense that he wrote this movie since it's like a little kid who's obsessed with action movies.
Yeah, and he kind of just satirizes the genre that he helped create, which is interesting.
Yeah.
In a very meta way.
Wow, this movie's very meta.
Very meta. Lots of and we'll get into it, but then turns, existential for a hot second. You're like, whoa, what kind of movie is this again?
It has some takes on modern society.
The last 20 minutes, we're going to start talking about this existential shit, anyway.
Yeah, well, not I guess modern at the time. It was the 90s New York.
Yeah.
Seemed like you could get away with just about anything, but we'll get there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. A little before Giuliani cleaned it up.
Cleaned up them streets.
Oh, how things have changed, Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, yeah. That thing with his hair dye running down his face, that picture is one of my favorite things I've seen
poetic.
in a long time. Yeah.
It's like he's leaking this black. It's like his brain is over fucking heated from the lies he's telling, and it's just leaking lubrication.
Yeah, and his soul is just leaking out through his hair. There's darkness of his soul.
There are infinite amount of metaphors you could make for what that picture could represent.
Yeah.
And none of it's good.
Yeah. Looks like he just did a real big tootski of some blow.
Yeah, it looks like it was.
Realize he killed a hooker.
It's a little too real. No, he looks like from The Fifth Element when Gary Oldman just starts bleeding, this black stuff just starts falling down his face.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But maybe, dude. I don't know. He's wild.
Wild Giuliani.
Yeah. Cast.
Skadoosh.
Arnie Schwartz as Detective Jack Slater and himself. Austin O'Brien as Danny Madigan. And Charles Dance as Benedict. I didn't think there was a fourth character that stood out enough worth mentioning. There was so many other side characters that we could talk about, but what would you say? What's the fourth lead in this movie? His mom?
No, I would give it to Veronica Vaughn. She is one fine
Veronica
piece
Vaughn
of ace.
is one piece of ace.
Yeah,
I know from experience.
not really, but a good buddy of mine and her.
No, I don't.
But I guess I would have given it to Bridget Sampras or whatever her name is.
I don't think she's the fourth. I think his mom's the fourth.
I'd say they probably have as
or
much
the
screen time.
creepy movie guy.
The creepy movie guy would probably be the fourth. Nick.
Yeah, Nick. I think Nick's probably the fourth.
Yeah.
It's close. It's between Nick and his mom.
Hey, teenage kid, you want to come watch some movies?
Not even teenage kid, preteen kid. Hey, you want to see a movie before it comes out?
in my graffiti theater.
I'll show you my magic ticket. It's so fucking weird.
He does. He even dresses in a little fucking costume to have him over too.
Come over to the movie theater after hours when we're closed. I'll give you a private screening. It's like, oh,
You can have all the popcorn you want.
oh, dude. Like, his mom's like, you're at the movie theater again with that crazy old man. Nick's not crazy, Mom.
He wants to fuck you.
Has he ever touched you inappropriately? Has he touched your penis?
Tell me we're on this door where Nick's touched you.
Has he ever tried to do one of these?
Anyway, yeah, that's South Park for you there.
Oh, shit. Honorable mention to every celebrity cameo playing themselves in this movie. There was a ton.
A shit ton, man.
I mean, wasn't worth writing them all down. Just a
Maria
lot.
Shriver. She gets the one mention.
She kind of seems like a bitch in this movie.
She definitely does.
A little bit.
Don't fucking talk about the steakhouse.
It's so tacky. It's so tacky when you mention the restaurants, Arnold.
And did you hear him take a shot at the National Enquirer too? He's like,
No.
the National Enquirer, don't talk to them over there.
Oh, I
I
missed
wonder
that.
if he's got some beef with him.
No, what I was wondering during that scene whether or not like the fucking maid was at that premiere
Oh, snap.
or his illegitimate child.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger and his maid.
It's such a weird thing to think about. At one point, it just happened. The kid got old enough to where I was like, the resemblance is not only uncanny, it's unfucking deniable.
It's that kid that's just buff as shit
Yeah,
that he's been
like,
riding bikes with or
he-
whatever.
He looks like Arnold with a darker complexion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even like it's so fucking close. They're like, I want the paternity test. Like, no,
That's your kid.
no, dude, you don't need one.
Yeah.
You don't. So now that we've gone on the cast, we've done Arnold in a few films. So what I wanted to do here was do the top 5 underrated Arnold films in descending order from 5 to 1. These are films that might not necessarily be on people's radar on a regular basis, but films that I think are underrated or hated on too much. Number 5, I'm going to start with Escape Plan. Don't know if you're familiar with this movie.
Is that him and Stallone as old people? They're
yes.
trying to get out of prison, and really it's his like thing the whole time.
Yes,
I've
correct.
seen that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So it's essentially a movie where Sylvester Stallone is hired as a professional prison breaker-outer, and he's testing the limits of this prison to see if you can break out of it. And Arnold happens to be a guy in prison who ends up assisting him. I think it's not going to win any awards. I'm not sitting here saying it's the fucking best movie. I think it's underrated. I think it's shit on too much.
You know what it is. And I watched it with my dad. It's a movie for guys who like movies. And he said that about that movie. So
It's a movie for guys who like movies.
gets the certified stamp.
Number 4, I'm going to go with End of Days. The apocalyptic thriller came back in late 90s, early 2000s.
Is it with like a nuclear bomb that ends up going off and
Yes.
it doesn't get shown a lot because it was right around 9/11 or something?
That is, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I saw it once then.
Or maybe it's this one. I think you're thinking of Collateral Damage, which I have
That's
at
the
3.
one. Yeah,
no.
that's the one I'm
End of
thinking
Days is like a biblical apocalyptic movie.
Okay, I never saw that.
Collateral Damage, it's fine. I think it's shit on too much. Collateral Damage I have at 3, and yes, that one's it's the one he plays a firefighter, and this was released right around 9/11, and he plays a firefighter whose family's killed by terrorists, and then he hunts down the terrorists and murders them.
Yeah, I think I saw it when I was a kid.
Just really unfortunate timing on that one. The Last Stand at number 2.
Don't think I saw that.
I recommend it. You should watch it. So essentially, it's a movie about Schwarzenegger plays a sheriff in an old-timey small town in Texas.
No, I have seen it then.
Yeah, and Johnny Knoxville's his sidekick in the movie, and the Mexican
Okay.
cartel comes through.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good.
It reminded me of some other movie, but I can't tell you what other movie, and so that's the end of that story. But yeah, I do remember that movie.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Number 1, and you might think this shouldn't be on the list because it gets enough accolades. I don't think it does. I think the number 1 most underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is True Lies.
No, I'm glad you said that because I was wondering if it was going to be on your list.
Number one.
A lot of people do know about it, but I'm still surprised by the amount of people, if I bring up True Lies, that never heard of it.
That's an incredible action film, and not only is it's perfect because it's got the perfect amount of action, comedy. Tom Arnold's a great sidekick.
Tom Arnold's
Jamie
great.
Lee Curtis does fantastic in that movie, and then you have those side performances like Bill
Bill
Paxton.
Paxton. He's so
Bill
great
Paxton,
in there,
not
yeah.
Pullman. It's
Such
fantastic.
a scumbaggy guy, but
I
so good at it.
pissed myself, man. I just pissed myself.
Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Man.
He was
great.
the best,
he
man.
was great.
Here's the Bill.
Here's to Bill.
Here's the Bill. I like Bill.
We should do Twister.
I'd be into that.
We'll wait until it's tornado season. We like to do
Did
our
we just see that
podcast.
tornado season?
No, it's coming back up in the spring, I think.
Isn't that like bad karma though?
Probably so. But anyway.
um.
But yeah, True Lies. I do like that movie a lot.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good action film. Even a very young Liza Dushku performance.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, she plays his daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's probably his number one most underrated film.
Yeah, I'll agree with it. I'll allow it.
Austin O'Brien. Before this, known for, I don't know if you're familiar with this movie, Keenan. It's fucking terrible. It's called The Lawnmower Man.
I'm not familiar with that.
Look it up. It's fucking crazy.
Okay.
After this, he's known for My Girl 2, Apollo 13, was a regular for a few seasons on Touched by an Angel, and he was in The Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace.
I don't even. I
Dude, it's
can't even
insane.
imagine how long.
I can't get into it because that is a podcast all on its own.
Okay.
It is insane.
Okay. Lawnmower Man.
It's basically about a retarded guy who gets more smart by virtual reality. I'll leave it at that.
Well, okay.
Charles Dance. Before this, known for Your Eyes Only,
For your eyes only.
Alien 3, and I want to say this with a big asterisk. I might not be mentioning big titles he's been in. Those were the two I recognized.
Okay.
He was in a ton of things. Those were the two I recognized. And I could be missing some really great films that he's been in that I just am not, that aren't, I'm too stupid to watch. After this, known for Gosford Park, Your Highness, that Danny McBride and James Franco flick, he played the king.
They're smoking weed.
Yes.
Like in the Stone Age or something.
Well, it's the
Or
medieval.
yeah, medieval. I confuse that with Year One all the time.
Year One's so bad.
Yeah.
Your Highness isn't great, but it's at least funny. Year One's stupid.
That's Jack Black and
And
Michael Cera. Yeah.
Just the worst chemistry-wise comedy duo of a movie in such a long time. You think, oh, that could be funny. Not funny.
yeah.
Not funny. Very flat. Also known for, he played a character in the Underworld franchise, a couple of those films. And then I think, obviously, what most people would know him from now is Master Lannister in Game of Thrones. Whoever the fuck his name is. I don't watch it. Tywin
Lannister, yeah. He's, to me, he's always been the glass-eyed henchman, which I guess his name is Benedict in this movie, but
It is.
I never knew him as Benedict. He's the guy with the glass eye.
Well, he's always been a dick.
I see what you did there. I'll allow it. You should boo yourself, but I'll allow it. If I think the joke's funny, then it deserves a boo, probably.
Probably.
That's what I've learned.
No,
yeah.
that's probably fair. Okay, so moving on to net worths.
2 Chainz.
We've done Arnold's a few times. It's 400 million.
400 mil. I thought he was at 450.
Could be. That could be right.
The last one that we released was Cobra still, right? I thought
Yeah,
Arnold
Cobra.
was above.
I actually just uploaded it today.
Okay. I thought Arnold was above Stallone.
Yeah,
but
he is by 50 million somehow. I don't know how, but whatever. I mean, I don't think it matters at that point.
Yeah.
You have 4 quarters. I have 4.5.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
You can buy 2 sodas. Charles Dan. Oh no, yeah, sorry, Austin O'Brien. So this is the young child.
Oh, I think, let me say before I guess, Austin O'Brien, his real name, pretty Irish sounding name, but Danny Madigan, that sounds
That's
like
even
a very,
more
yeah,
Irish,
I know.
yeah.
Oh, Danny Madigan.
Danny Madigan.
Well, he's on.
It's more than you
shit,
think.
Really?
It's more than you think.
I'll guess $5 million.
2 million.
$2 million. Okay.
I would imagine most of that is from residuals from this movie, to be honest with you.
This or My Girl too. Isn't that a big?
Yeah, Apollo
Girl's a big
13,
thing, yeah.
Touched by, I guess Touched by an Angel probably gets a lot of syndication. Or hell, I don't know. Maybe he made it some other way. Maybe he's good at something else. I don't know. He seemed, he was fucking really annoying in this movie, but
See, I actually have a note that I don't hate this kid.
Like, I don't punch kids, but I would fucking punch that kid.
Really?
100%.
I said that I don't hate this kid, which is surprising because I hate kids in every single thing that I watch.
Like, I don't wish cancer upon kids, but
Oh, okay. Well, don't do it now. Don't start.
All right, moving on to specs and deeds.
Yes, indeed.
Runtime on this film, we can all agree, very bloated, way too long, 130 minutes. That's
I
2
don't
hours
agree.
and 10.
I don't agree.
Dude, it's so bloated. There's so much they could cut.
They could cut a couple things, but I enjoyed all. So this is usually I'm the one that says we should cut some stuff, but I'm all for this. But I should say that I loved this movie when I was a kid. So
here's where I think that here's what comes in. I think the reason why is because you have nostalgic attachment to this movie. So,
Absolutely.
So that makes a big difference. This was my first viewing of it,
Yeah.
and I'm viewing it as an adult who has seen a million movies and who's done 58 on this podcast or 59, however many it's been. More since we haven't released some of them.
Yeah.
So I just watched this thinking, what the fuck? It's a fucking great idea. I love the idea. It's executed okay. But there's so much in the middle that's unnecessary that they just do for doing's sake. Like when he first gets to the movie world, that's 45 minutes of the movie, and then we're an hour and a half in, and then they're just going back to the real world, and there's 45 minutes left. That's way too long.
They go back to the real world when there's 50 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah.
Because I remember I did kind of pause it there to see how much time I had left, and I thought it was only like the last 20 minutes that they were in the real world.
They needed to cut, especially, okay, hold on, let's finish this and we'll get into it.
Okay.
Budget, $85 million, opened $15 million, grossed $50 million domestically, $137 million globally.
Damn. So, I mean, it made money, but not
enough.
a shit ton, yeah.
Not enough. But I imagine for what marketing costs and I imagine they weren't totally happy with that return.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the problem was they released it the week before Jurassic Park was released.
Oh, shit. So, like
No,
a
it may have
summer
been
blockbuster?
either the week before or week after.
Yeah, if you're competing with that, you're going to lose.
And they test screened it once, and the test screening went so horribly that they're like, well, we might want to wait till August. And the studio's like, nope, just release it. And I think this movie could have been better with some editing. I'll leave it at that for now. Taglines. They're all fucking stupid. Did somebody say action?
That's pretty bad.
He's so mean. And no. Let me phrase that. He's mean and he'll blast through your screen.
That sounds like a porno or something.
Yeah, it's not great. Blast. Well, because he's coming through. Because
I get it. I mean, I get
it. The Big Ticket of '93.
The big ticket.
Sounds like a fish story or something.
I guess I get it because it's got a golden
Yeah,
ticket in
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
still.
The last one is, this isn't the movies anymore.
Yeah, that's all bad.
I mean, none of those are good.
Yeah, it would have been funnier if Danny Madigan, whenever Nick gave him the ticket, if he would have been like, I've got a golden ticket.
I've got a golden reason.
There's something else. My grandparents are all assholes.
I don't know why we're making him British. He doesn't have a British accent.
Yeah, but the song he does, in Willy Wonka.
No, he doesn't.
Aren't they in England?
No.
Oh, I always thought they were in England. Either way, yeah, anyway. It's better to have it British, Fuck
'Cause,
them.
I'm pretty sure Grandpa Joe's singing it most of the time, and he's fucking...
Yeah, he's definitely not doing an English accent.
Yeah, anyway. Different movie,
Talk
different
about
pod.
a kid I don't like. The kid from that fucking
Oh,
movie.
yeah, dude. I want to punch him in the face, too.
I don't like any of the kids in that movie.
I bet that when you get the ticket, I bet the chocolate tastes terrible.
Yeah. Fuck off, Charlie.
Go, fuck off, Charlie. You're a fucking idiot. Of course it doesn't.
That Candyman wants to take... Anyway.
Plot keywords. Number 1, parallel universe.
Yeah.
Adds up. Number 2, blockbuster video, which there was I don't think it was called a blockbuster video because it was in the parallel movie universe, but it was.
So
for
on-
all intents and purposes.
It was totally filmed inside of a blockbuster.
For sure. Whoops.
Whoa.
Gotta put that on silent.
That sounded like a poof fart or something like that.
It's a whoosh.
But on the door of the blockbuster, it said Acme.
Everything's at
Rental.
Acme, which was
Exactly.
obviously an homage to Warner Brothers, Acme, Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah,
all that.
old movie type stuff.
Old cartoons. Number 3, psychopathic murderer, which I think was the Ripper,
I would say that's the Ripper.
or Benedict.
And I'll say to this day, the Ripper...
Pretty scary.
Pretty scary looking fucking guy.
He's scary.
And Tom Noonan in general is just kind of a scary looking dude. But,
yeah. Well, no, he wasn't when he was in his tux in the red carpet. He looked okay there.
he still looks like a mortician or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, his attire in general is very strange. He was wearing like knight's sheathing, like the underneath. What the fuck was that about?
Yeah, chainmail is what it was.
Thank you,
yeah.
chainmail. Like, what is he worried someone's gonna shoot arrows at him? Like, what is it? But he's like wearing it with like a fucking, I don't know, like a slicker on.
A yellow raincoat.
Nothing about what he's wearing makes any sense at all. It's all very hodgepodge.
It's like he was getting his uniform together, and he was like, "I want to be a medieval knight. I've got the axe, I've got the chainmail." But then he saw a can of
He's like,
Morton's.
oh, but it's raining outside.
He
So
saw a can of Morton's salt and was like, "But I kind of like that chick too."
Yeah.
Beat off to it real quick. Went out and bought a yellow raincoat, and there you go.
Or he was just like, oh fuck, I can't let this shit rust. So like he put on a raincoat.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah.
probably what it is. It's serving a practical purpose.
Yeah, God forbid, fucking. Ugh.
That's where the medieval knights would go wrong. They would always fight in their chainmail
Well,
in the
because
rain.
they had the suit of armor over it.
and then it would rust. So you need to get a raincoat.
He's like, I spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
Number 4, sucked into the cinema screen. Again, these are not more plot keywords as they more like plot phrases.
That's a thing.
That's what.
Sucked into the cinema screen.
Yeah, cinema too. Very strange word choice.
Yeah. So you can click on that and find other movies where people get sucked off in a cinema screen. Excuse me, sucked into.
Sucked into it, said sucked off in a cinema screen. I think you probably get more movies with that one.
You probably would. Deep Throat.
Oh, dude, I watched All the President's Men last night.
Did you?
I did.
Is that the one with
Robert Redford.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Dustin
kind of
Hoffman.
boring, but kind of good too.
Well, I mean, it's a political thriller.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just given current things that are going on, I found it topical and interesting.
I watched it in 2016,
It's-
giving things
yeah.
that were going on.
Yeah, and it's also
Or like 2017, during the Mueller report
yeah.
or
And
investigation.
number 5 was celebrities playing themselves.
Totally. That
Yeah,
works.
That adds up.
I liked the Robert Patrick. He wasn't playing himself, but he played the guy from Terminator real quick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like but it's very you can miss it if you're not looking.
You can
for it.
absolutely
He
miss
just
it. yeah.
walks out and he goes, "Whoa, did you see that?
Whoa!
He's a T9000."
Yeah, pretty neat.
Is it T900 or T9000?
Eh.
I think we've had this exact same conversation
I
on
don't know.
a different movie before. Anyways,
Skynet's gone live.
Rosnet's gone live. All right, now it's time for the canopsis. Please give us your canopsis, Cannabis Keenan.
Danny Madigan has a normal life as a teenager, I guess preteen, living in New York City in the 1990s. That is until one day when he receives a magical movie ticket. I've got the golden ticket that transports him from the real world. From the real world Big Apple straight into an action-packed Jack Slater film. It's up to Danny and Jack to team up to stop the bad guys in both the real world and the movie world in Last Action Hero.
It does see, and I was concerned about how you were going to be able to, because there's like I was saying earlier, there's so much in this movie to pack into a synopsis. I don't know that I could have done what you did and be like, give me 43 words. What's this movie about?
That's what because at first I was trying to give too much, and I was like, nope, fuck it. I'm just going with the basic.
There's
he's
so
got a
much.
magic ticket. He gets sucked into a movie, and that's pretty much what
He
happens.
gets a magic ticket from an old, maybe possibly pedophile guy who knew fucking
Harry Houdini.
yeah, who knew Houdini.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they had him. Why? It's just so weird to me that his mom, like, where you have to, like, anyway. So now it's time for the Real Buzz Rundown. Of course, the podcast where we give our thoughts on the film, what we liked, what we disliked, what we would possibly cut, maybe in this film, what we would change, not change. Keenan, we'll start with you. I'll sprinkle in.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't have too many notes because to me this was. I mean, I still have a full page, but to me this was more of a nostalgia trip because I've been for several years. I've been wanting to go back and watch
It's more
this movie.
you like the way like how the movie makes you feel than maybe because it brings you back to a time.
Right.
you know?
That's
Like,
I remember being 7, 8 years old, and as a kid I was obsessed with movies
So
too.
this
I
came
still
out
am obsessed. with movies.
93, so I would have been. Well, so you probably saw it later than
Right, yeah, I didn't see it in theaters.
Because I was 4 when this came out.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on like HBO or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think I just caught half of it, jumped in or something, and then after that, any time that it was ever on, I would watch it. I never owned it or anything like that, but I saw it on TV 100 times.
It seems like one of those movies that would do really well on cable, just syndicated, like on a TNT or on a like a USA, something like that. It seems like a movie that they could put on and people not a movie you want to sit down and watch all the way through, but you'll watch a 20-minute segment between commercial
jump in
breaks.
there.
Exactly.
I do think it's a fun movie too. And as a kid, as someone who was obsessed with movies, like the whole fact or the thought of being sucked into a movie or sucked off in a movie.
No,
too,
the idea is great. I love the idea. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think they executed phase one, the first act of the movie, great, and the third act of the movie well. But it's more like the fourth act of the movie. But the middle of the movie was just so bloated, and there were so many things that just maybe they needed to tighten it up.
So what you liked least was, I guess, when they were running around in the movie world in the Jack Slater universe.
So I will get into this now. I don't know why the whole plot line with well, first of all, I didn't like all the fart jokes. The first four were like, okay, I get it. But by fart joke number 12, I'm like, okay, stop it. It's too much. And that entire plot line was completely
Are
unnecessary.
you talking about with Leo the Fart?
Leo the Fart.
Yeah.
Completely unnecessary plot line. Didn't need to be there. You'd already established that Benedict was more the, while it kind of seemed like he was a secondary villain, he was the primary villain. And then we didn't need a 25-minute segment where they're going around, we're going to Joey the Fart's funeral. And then it's like, oh, he's got gas. Oh, Joey the Fart, just let one more. It got so bad, and it was so unnecessary. And you got fucking little kid driving the crane, and it went on for so long. You could have cut all of that, and the movie would have still been an hour and 40 minutes, and it would have been just fine.
No, see, but I think what you're missing here is that you really see the entire Jack Slater 6 throughout the thing. So it's like, or Jack Slater 4. So it's like you get the 90-minute Jack Slater movie within. So then you got the pieces. It doesn't quite add up like that timeline-wise, but that would have been a scene in the Jack Slater movie.
See,
so
that's
why it's there.
But that's why I think this movie's too much, because they're trying to do too much for the people, for the demographic of people who will enjoy this film. They're not going to sit down for 2 hours and 10 minutes. A Schwarzenegger movie that's more than 100 minutes is too long.
So we should ask this. Who's the film aimed at? Because I do think it's aimed at kids more so than adult action movie fans.
Yes.
And I could just be saying that because I saw it as a kid, and I fucking loved it as a kid.
No, but I do think it's aimed at action movie fans, too, because they do such a good job of satirizing the entire 80s action genre.
Absolutely. They totally do.
Because there's so much there that a kid won't quite get, that I think they do a good job. And they do a great job of that. There's a lot of jokes that land, and there's a lot of gaffes that land really well that are obviously intentional, just satirizing the entire genre, that I don't think kids would necessarily maybe understand, but maybe not appreciate. So I do think it was probably made for guys it was made for kids and guys who liked 80s action films.
Yeah.
So guys who like Die Hard and guys who like Predator. So they're like, hey, look at this. It's kind of like a cheeky way of making fun of those films, but still funny. But then there's still enough. There's the kid there. And then you can, all the kids can relate to this kid being like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool to be sucked into a movie and experience all these awesome things without any consequences? So I think those are the two people they're going to. The problem is, I don't think most kids, I think, are an exception. I don't know if most kids are going to sit down for 2 hours and 10 minutes and pay attention. I know most guys who like action movies are going to be like, what the fuck, dude? This is more than 500 minutes. I got to drink a beer.
Well, and I think you've got to be right because it didn't do that well overall. It wasn't
it didn't lose money, but it also wasn't.
It wasn't a smash.
There
hit
weren't sequels
by any means. Yeah, and they probably would have made sequels had they.
Of course.
Yeah. They kind of left it open at the end where he's like, "It's not going to be the last time I see you. Anyone who thinks that would be making a big mistake." That's the Jack Slater tagline.
I'm well aware. Thank you.
I did write down, though, it's a brilliant satire-ish type thing of 80s, 90s action films.
Brilliant
I think
might be a little far. They do a good job. They
I love
definitely
it.
do a good job. I think they're...
All the one-liners that he has and the chief that's all mad at him all the time.
They're not quite subtle enough sometimes, though. It's like they force it on you like you're not going to get it unless we put it on you like fucking we put so thick that you're going to... We're trying to satirize this. Like they're shouting it at you, sometimes literally, sometimes figuratively. I think they could, if they would have just been a little more subtle with some of their, some of the satirization.
That's a word.
Satirization. Or I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the lunkheads who like these movies need it, fucking braced over their head. I was like, yeah, we get it. We get it.
I love it, man. The whole. Well, I'll go in order. I'll get to it, but right from the start, you kind of know what it is with. I guess you don't, because it seems like a normal action movie at the start of the thing. There's like, oh, there's a hostage thing, and he's walking on all the cop cars, and then or on all the taxis.
With his crazy rattlesnake skin boots.
Yeah, and then he goes up to the guy, he's like, do you want to be a farmer? And kicks him in the nuts. There's a couple acres. I fucking love it.
I don't get. So he's saying like his nuts ache?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Two things that ache, a couple acres. It's a bad pun.
It's really bad.
It's a terrible pun.
But I also understand that that's the point.
That's the point of it.
That's the point. Yeah.
I thought that was great. And then they have all the saxophone music, which totally is 90s action, 80s and 90s fucking action movies.
So here's a good example of my point where they're just flooring you with, it's like we're forcing this this idea that like no we're satirizing. Watch us, look at us. Because he's like in the car. The kid's like, rock and roll. I can't get hurt. This must be an 80s action movie. Like he says it to you. It's like, dude, I don't need it to be said to me. I can watch it and understand.
Yeah, but he's realizing it himself. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
He's real. Oh, this must be a set change. I guess at that point, that's a little over the top.
I don't need satire just fucking spelled out for me, because then it's not fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a scene that you think would have been cut that I like a lot is the when he's in school and they're like, all right, we're going to watch Hamlet now. It's got Laurence Olivier. You might have seen him in this movie or that movie. And then he's got the daydream about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, I love that scene. No, that's one of my favorites. No,
yeah, I thought that was great.
I think that's one of the better parts of the movie, because that's the satire. It's definitely satire, but they're not shoving it down your throat. It's actually, it reminds me of those Tug Speedman. At the beginning of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
from Tropic Thunder. And I almost think they're better. Schwarzenegger kills those. He was awesome in that, because he said a lot of the Hamlet's like style iambic pentameter Shakespeare lines and like the Terminator voice. It was awesome. I loved
really
it.
good.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was good. One of the things I didn't like, I guess, just jumping to it, something I didn't like is how he kept going, see, you didn't know I was going to say that? And at the end when he goes, rubber baby bubby bunkers, I thought that was fucking stupid.
I laughed my ass off at that.
You liked that?
I did like that.
See, I thought that was stupid, but interesting.
No,
interesting.
Anytime you can make Arnold say something ridiculous in his crazy accent, it's going to kill.
Yeah.
That's just funny. That's just comedic gold.
Where am I? So I said I definitely watched that Arnold Hamlet movie. I think I've already said it, but
I would watch that movie in its entirety, not just the trailer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish they would have made that movie.
Would have been great.
There's something rotten in the state of Denmark, and he's here to clean it up, or something like that.
To be, or not to be, or to be.
Well, he says not to be.
Yeah, not to be. That's
not
right.
Not to be. Yeah. But it's fun. So Charles Dance, too. I think he does a good job as the bad guy. He's one of those snide British cliche bad guys wearing a white suit all the time.
I would argue he might have the best performance of the movie.
Oh, he does a great job. And what's funny is I hated him so much as a kid, but now as an adult, I appreciate it because like he does a really good job of being that fucking snarky bad guy actor. And he breaks the fourth wall for
I know,
a bit there, too.
It's
which
a little...
I kind of had a problem with.
It doesn't quite add up because he doesn't... It's like he doesn't go full break the fourth wall, but he kind of seems like he is. He either needs to do it or not. Like
right.
if it's like you're not sure if he's doing it, it doesn't work. So I'm like, I don't know. He may have just broken the fourth wall. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that was very executed very well either. But I don't know.
I think his performance.
Also, something that could have been completely cut didn't need to be in the film.
Yeah, and then it makes it seem like he's talking to the guy who I think was Random Task in Austin Powers.
He was Random Task.
Yeah.
Yes.
It made it seem like maybe he was just talking to
Which
him
is
and not
crazy
breaking the
because
fourth
he's satiring his satire of Odd Job.
Yeah, but this was before Austin Powers.
Oh, you're right. It was.
This
Never
was
mind.
93,
Okay,
right?
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Never mind. Well,
because I thought about that.
Less meta then.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, whoa, this gets so deep, so many layers.
So deep. The guy, whenever Danny first gets sucked into the film and he's in the back seat and he's in the shootout and everything, one of the guys in the back is totally a henchman that I've seen in so many 80s and 90s movies. He's the guy,
Asian guy.
The
I know
Asian
you're
guy
talking
that gets
about
the ice cream cone in the back of his head.
He's always
got the
got
hair.
Yep, I can think of him from.
I think he's in Big Trouble in Little China.
He is, and he's in Lethal Weapon 4. Yeah, he's like he's that guy.
He's a bit thug, pretty much. Like he plays
How dare
a
you,
henchman
Keenan?
type. I'm just saying.
How dare you, sir?
That's the character he
How
plays.
dare you?
I didn't mean to typecast him that way. That's just the only thing I've seen him as.
You are racially insensitive, sir.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But I did love a lot of the puns. I tried not to write down all of the puns, but when he got that cone in the back of his
It's
head,
hard.
it's like, ice that guy. I thought that was great. That's pretty funny.
No, again, it's just I like it. I understand what they were doing. I thought they tried too hard, shoved it down my throat. I was like, all right, enough. But the one thing that stood out to me most was the fart jokes. There was about Leo the fart. There were, I think, conservatively 11 fart jokes. And it's like, okay, all right. Like, but for the first 4, I'm like, all right, cool, I get it. But like by number 9 or 10, you're like, all right, we get it.
You're doing a fart bit again. Leo the fart.
Silent but deadly.
Yeah. I say I laughed at that.
I would have if it was like the 5th one, not the 12th.
Yeah. Well, I still like him when he's on the roof, too, and he's like, anybody need a doctor? And the guy's like, I'm a doctor. Oh, shit, check his chin. Then he knocks him out with the I don't know. I thought that shit was funny.
This man's alive!
Yeah, I did also think that speaking of meta, and maybe this might be shoving it down your throat a little bit too much, but they're literally in that chase. They go in the L.A. River just like when Arnold's in Terminator 2. It's like almost a recreation of the exact same thing.
Oh, it was homage for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of homage to a lot of different 80s actions movie within either action sequences or direct lines. I mean, that was intentional entirely.
Yeah, but with it being straight up the Arnold, because Arnold was, in that Terminator 2. But anyway.
That Arnold wasn't.
Right, and that's a good point. And so when they go
Sylvester Stallone was in that universe.
That's true. And when they go to the Blockbuster and they see Stallone as the Terminator 2 poster, I say in the Cobra episode that...
I like it. That's a good joke. I think that's funny.
I thought that was great. No, that's his best role yet.
He's fantastic.
I think people probably said that about Arnold in that movie.
Well, so it's funny because it's Arnold saying Sylvester Stallone's fantastic, but also saying he's fantastic because it's really him and not Sylvester. I think it's his finest work.
Yeah, he's talking about himself.
Again, it's the meta. It's
yeah. He's super meta. But that Blockbuster scene was one of my favorite scenes as a kid because I had just been in a Blockbuster so many times. And then when they talk about
can we talk about the corny pickup line that Arnold gives to that lady? Where
you were in a movie? Yes. It was titled The Girl in My Dreams.
We had a very romantic scene.
Yeah. But then when he's talking about the phone numbers with 555, that's something that had such an impact on me as a kid that, like, for all time, I've been watching movies and TV shows, and 95% of them, the phone numbers are 555 something, 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 something.
8675309.
Well, that's a song.
Yeah, no, sorry.
But, yeah, I don't know. So
Did you get away with that line today in the Me Too movement? He was called The Girl in My Dreams. And we had a very romantic scene.
I don't know.
Probably not.
You might get slapped.
Again, not to get too controversial here, I think it depends on if the girl finds you attractive or not. If the girl finds you attractive, it's, oh, that's cute. If the girl thinks you're fugly, it's like, get away. I mean, I'm not saying one way or the other whether that's right or wrong. I'm saying that's reality.
That's true. Yeah.
Whether or not you come off as a sexual offender has a lot to do with whether or not you're attractive.
Yeah, if Leo goes up to a girl and asks that, he's probably not getting
Dude,
slapped.
you got to put a wet floor sign down.
If I do it,
or if I do it,
yeah, I'm getting.
Oh, I'm going to jail.
I'm going to jail, straight to jail.
I'm getting banned from
whatever bar you're at.
Yeah.
Because you're going up in a bar. That's where you're using that type of line.
Yeah, I guess because video rental stores are no longer around.
Yeah, otherwise, just hang outside of one of those. There's a Family Video somewhere around here you can find, I'm sure.
No, that one closed. The one that was Todd Judge.
Yeah, that's true. It's a Dollar General now. I think there's still one in Independence.
I could see that coming.
Yeah. Once they started selling CBD, I was like, yeah, this place is going downhill.
For the longest time, man, not to get too local with the podcast, I thought that place was open for so long. I'm like, dude, that's a fucking front. They're laundering money in that place.
You know what sucks is that I used to go in there and rent video games, and I went in and I rented like NBA 2K20 or something, and then I returned it, and then they closed business like 2 days later.
Could have kept it.
I could have just fucking kept it.
They weren't going to bill you for it.
Yeah, totally not. Clearly not.
And the fucked up thing is when you do keep games like that, when they bill you for like 3 times the value of the game, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I was part of the problem for sure because I would rent shit.
I did that too.
I contributed to them going out of business. But anyway, so here's a joke that I thought was really funny. Whenever Danny and them first go to the bad guy's house, and
so technically this would be the not cartel, Italian guy.
The Italian guy.
Yeah.
I didn't write his name.
Yeah,
down.
whatever. He's not
Yeah, the guy. So really,
inconsequential.
he's playing the families off of each other or whatever.
Yeah.
And he killed. I also thought it was funny. He's like, he killed my favorite second cousin. It's like nobody's got a favorite
Of
second
course.
cousin.
Well, again, that was also definitely a joke. Like,
Right,
He's my
exactly.
favorite second cousin.
And they bring that up 17 fucking times
yeah.
in the movie too. But
Again, they ram it. They all the satires ram down your throat so hard where it's like, I get it.
Yeah. See, that's why I think maybe it's designed for kids, though, because kids needed it explained. And I understood the satire
Okay, so that's
as a kid.
what I was going to ask you. So, did you understand how old were you the first time you saw
Probably
this?
8.
All right, so as an 8-year-old,
8, 9,
did
yeah.
you understand that they were
Oh,
being
yeah.
ironic?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I could
I'll be
tell that
honest.
it was like,
I don't know if I understood what irony was when I was 8.
well, I don't think I
Well,
don't think I
okay,
could
so-
have explained to you irony.
Sure, but you understood like the idea. Like
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't have been like, that's irony. Like, no, but you understood, but you in your mind you could make sense of like, oh, they're being funny.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. With the Stallone thing and Terminator, like I got that joke as a kid. I completely understood that. The 555 thing, I didn't know that movies did that, but I completely understood what they were doing.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
chief yelling, and he's like, the time that your daughter had to go to the mental institution or whatever.
He yells
and-
so many crazy things.
yeah, and he's like, wait, really, you guys are best friends? And he's like, how'd you know that? And he's like, Jack Slater won. It's like, you told your dad too?
At one point, when when the chief is going off on just a tirade, yelling before his ears smoke, he goes, "And Frank's mother." It's like, what?
I think he was saying random phrases and then going, blah, 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 fried. Yeah, I don't know. Baloney.
Fried bologna and Frank's mother. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
And that chief was total, satire of, and this movie has changed the way that I've looked at every like cop and chief relationship because it made me realize that, oh, I see what they're really doing here.
It's a diatribe.
Yeah. So I did get it as a kid, but I was a smart kid,
That's true. Because with your educational background, and you were like this before that. I mean, you grew up, you were interested in writing, interested in different elements of writing. You loved Hunter S. Thompson.
Maybe this movie had something to do with it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who
but
knows?
Getting back to the part that I thought was funny, so when they finally go to his house, or not finally, but when they go to his house for the first time and they knock on the door, hi, we'd like to speak to the drug dealer of the house. But then Charles Dance comes out and he's like, oh, let's spray some arterial blood all over the place or whatever. And he's like, these dogs are exceptionally well trained. Snaps his fingers and then they do a pyramid. I fucking died. I forgot that joke was in there and I died laughing. They're so well trained.
This is where I feel like the movie doesn't have an identity because that is slapstick.
That's slapstick
That's
comedy.
slapstick comedy. And this movie is comedic, but it's like that one joke almost doesn't fit in the movie because there's nothing quite. I mean, there's ridiculous stuff.
I
but
think the cartoon cat kind of is slapsticky
Yeah,
too.
okay.
The sexual harassing cartoon cat that just grabs that detective
it's
lady's
Danny,
ass.
It's Danny DeVito.
I know, you could tell it's Danny
Yeah.
DeVito, but yeah. Sorry, had a little furball problem. I thought that was funny. The Mozart thing, that joke, every time they said that.
Mozart?
Yeah, he killed Mozart.
Like, because of Amadeus.
Yeah, exactly. F. Murray Abraham.
The actor
Yeah.
actually killed him in Amadeus.
That's F. Murray. One of my favorite names in Hollywood, F. Murray Abraham. Don't know what the F stands for, but I like it.
F stands for fantastic.
Yeah, and the F stands for Wheezy. But yeah, I thought that's Danny told me not to trust you. Told me you killed Mozart. Mo who? Zart.
Mozart.
Whatever. I've killed a lot of people.
I don't remember any of them. Say, man.
Yeah.
Say.
I really like F. Murray Abraham. And then my next note is
He's not in this movie a ton, though.
he's not, no, and he's Jack Practice or whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Which is so that okay. So I kind of like that because that was more subtle. Where it's like, yeah, it's one of the stupid 80s action comedies kind of catchphrases that like a guy would use, and I think he did a great job.
Yeah, for the little bit he's in there.
I take it back. He might be my favorite. He's all right. So he's going to be like the guy who did the most with the least amount of screen time.
Okay, I'll give him that award too.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
he should have been the fourth.
Well, man, what?
He's not in it enough.
He'll
though.
never surpass his. He'll never surpass Scarface.
No, yeah, he's great in Scarface. He's doing the thing. That's kind of what that's the first time I saw him.
Yeah, it's great.
But then my dad made me watch Amadeus, and he's actually really good in that too.
No, he's a great actor.
Long fucking movie, but a really good movie.
Very long. Who's the main? Who plays Mozart?
He's Otter or whatever
Yes.
from Animal House.
Yeah, he's been in like 4 things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
One of
Two
them was
fucking
Amadeus.
classics, I guess.
One
Yeah,
was
Animal
Amadeus
House.
and one was Animal House. Yeah.
Guy's doing pretty good. I wouldn't act anymore after that
No,
either.
no. He's
my
like,
track record pretty good.
I'm gonna leave on top.
I wonder how much money that guy's worth. He's been in some good films,
He's got a weird face.
He kind of does. Probably why I didn't get casted. My next note was, though, I still think this movie is just as fun as an adult as when I was a kid, but I will give it to nostalgia on that probably. And I like when they get back to New York City. Like, I like that Charles Dance's character kind of realizes what the ticket does, but then he waits until, the very end to kill the boss, and then that's when he goes out.
So I guess we're to believe that he understands what the ticket does based on what he knows about Danny. And when he has the ticket and he can stick his hand through a wall and it seems like he's going somewhere else, and I'm nitpicking. I get it. It's an action movie. It's fun. But he deduces that he's going to another dimension based on the fact of what he knows about this child and this ticket, and he just sticks his hand through a wall. And he's like, I can travel to other dimensions.
I can figure it out.
It's
I
fine.
don't know.
It's fine. I'm
It's
not.
a movie. At one point in time, he does, though, whenever he goes to, and this is another thing that I think Charles Dance does great for his evil character, when he shows up to the ex-wife's house that they're all staying at with the daughter.
Yeah.
And you think Skeezy's coming to the door, but he goes in and...
Hold on. Stop. Let me stop here real quick. The whole skeezy thing. No one else thinks it's weird that
I thought it was weird.
Bridget's conservatively 22.
Well, she says it's a sorority thing. So
All right,
she's
so
probably
18
a senior.
to
Yeah, they're
21.
fucking with freshmen.
Yeah, but you're gonna kiss an 11-year-old on the lips.
She says it's a freshman. He's not an 11-year-old.
But Skeezy, who came to the door, was not a freshman in college.
That's what they say, though. He was supposed to be a freshman in college. She said it's this thing where this freshman guy, they send a freshman here and we have to kiss him.
So she's just gonna kiss him no matter what if he doesn't look like he's a freshman in college? I mean, again, the double standard's there, and I agree with it. I don't care. If I was 11 and that girl kissed me, I'd be like, fucking great.
I don't think Skeezy was supposed to be 11, though. He's supposed to be a freshman in college.
He was not. If you saw him when he came to the door, he looked
I saw
the
him,
same
yeah.
age, if not younger.
As Danny Manigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying he's supposed to be a freshman, man. There's a line.
I'm saying she is a human being and can use discretion when looking at someone who she's going to kiss on the lips and determine whether or not they're a freshman in college. That kid was. I mean, it wasn't like well, he might not. He definitely wasn't. On both people.
Yeah, well, anyway, when Charles Dance comes through and he's got her hold up with the henchman, and Danny's like, if you harm a single hair on her body or on her head, stop. And he goes and gets the hair and then rips it. I thought that was intimidating as shit. I like that a lot.
So I think he has a lot of great scenes. Well, at least two memorable ones. That's one. The other one is when he just gets to New York City and he's in, he transfers from the movie world to the real world. And he goes in, he's like, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'd like to conduct an experiment. Would you help? He goes, yeah, sure. What's up? He shoots him. He looks at his clock. And he just is like, okay. And he starts shooting. So he's like, hey, I've killed a man willingly. I meant to do it.
I wish to confess.
Yeah. And he realized that in bad neighborhoods in America, in the real world, goes back to his motif at the end, like the bad guys can win.
Right. And that's where it gets super meta too, where it's like a commentary on modern day society. Like the good guys don't always win, the bad guys can win. Yes. And that's his character's motivation to get to the real world. I think that's really good.
And what humans write, good guys don't. Yeah, good guys usually can't lose.
Right.
But in the real world, if we're being honest, if we're being flat out honest, the good guy usually loses.
Yeah. Well, there's a phrase, nice guys finish last. That's usually the good guys, right?
That's a little reductive because that's more towards like women.
I understand, but yes. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No. But when it comes down to it, usually altruistic people or people who are wanting to do good aren't necessarily what we would consider winning or successful.
Yeah.
Which is, we're actually getting really deep into a different kind of podcast.
Well, that's how this movie did,
yeah,
too.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is a stupid fucking movie, but it evokes these kind of thoughts in my head. And just wait till the end. At the end, my fucking mind was blown.
Yeah, well, so I while we're talking about it, I think that as a setting choice, the juxtaposition between how the modern day, you're in New York City where it's all grungy and you're in that theater with the graffiti on the walls.
And then you're in L.A.
Then you're in sunny L.A. with these beautiful mansions
world,
and shit like that.
Because it's all a fucking...
Right, exactly. I think that's
it's all a fucking illusion.
So that way when you come back out of the movie world to what is just modern New York City, you feel dirty kind of, and you're like, oh man, I want to go back to the movie world too. Like that was way nicer.
See, I had that exact same thought. It was so right when what's his name? Main bad guy. I'm losing it.
Benedict.
When Benedict got
Charles Dance.
When Charles Dance got to the non-movie world, I'm like, oh, like, and while I think this movie's mostly superficial, I think this was intentional. It was gross. It was awful. It was nothing like the Hollywood that he was in. Where like,
right. And that's the other thing. So he says, I can be the perfect criminal. If God was a villain, he'd be me because I can just go in and out, rob, be whatever I want to be.
And then go back to the world that's perfect.
Exactly. And then
it goes back to what Danny was saying about, hey, look around. Look at this girl. She's entirely too attractive to be working at a video store.
Right, yeah.
Every girl that you see here is wildly attractive. There's no regular women. This is California. Oh.
But when Charles Dance sees the first crime he sees, he hears gunshots and sees people going, take his shoes, take his shoes. And he can't comprehend.
Take his shoes?
Why would you just take his shoes? Because in the movies, the bad guys are always trying to take over the world or some shit like that.
In the real world, the bad guys just need fucking shoes.
Right, exactly.
Not even bad guys, the desperate people.
Yeah, just need shoes, and they'll rob you for your shoes, I guess, or murder you for your shoes. And yeah, New York City, before Giuliani, I guess, shit like that was happening.
It's so weird. I am glad we're getting a little in depth into like because there's this movie. I'm thinking about it more even just after watching it once. There's a lot more to it. Like if we wanted to go into it and like look at like different themes, you could dive into this movie really hard. There's a lot going on.
Another thing that I noticed talking about the juxtaposition.
We can't say big words like that.
Right. Between the real world and the fake world, though, is it seemed like in the movie world, anytime there was shootouts, there was like no blood. People would get hit.
And then when Arnold gets hit in the real world, it's very graphic.
Not just that, but when he plays chicken and you see the guy that played Random Task hanging out of the front of the windshield of the taxi and there's just blood on his head and blood on the windshield, that was pretty graphic.
Just stresses that there's consequences in the real world, and the real world's not a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting kind of deep.
I know. I didn't mean to do it.
The rest of my notes
I had nothing to. I wrote that just happened. I wrote nothing down.
You know, it's one of those movies. Yeah. And I've already said that.
Just wait till I tell you the next note I have because it's nothing. It's very stupid.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. The next note I have is we killed less people in this movie. In this movie, we only killed 48 people. The last movie, we killed 119. I thought that was.
But in a way, that's also social commentary on like. Fuck it. That's
yeah,
stupid.
We don't want it to be as violent. But I did like he started talking about Planet Hollywood, and we already talked about Maria Shriver saying not to pimp it. But you remember Planet Hollywood?
Oh, yeah, dude. I used to love those. When I was at Universal Studios, I go to Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, there was one in St. Louis. That's the only one I ever went to.
Yeah, not when I lived there.
No, yeah. When I was a kid, there was one in St. Louis.
So after we talked about all of that, the next one note I have is, holy shit, boss, there's like 2K in here. It's like after Daniel's like, hey, there's money in the drawer. Just take the money and leave us. And it's fake money, obviously.
Right, marked bills.
But then the amount of money is a strange choice because it's, to you and me, a lot of money. To people like that, it's like, that's not, he's like, he makes a big, holy shit, boss, there's like 2K in here.
Yeah, maybe he was just
so split between the 6 people in the room, they each get like $230 or $215, $210. Like, doesn't seem like it's that big a deal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Doesn't seem like it's that much of consolation.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it was all worth it.
It doesn't seem like his reaction to the fact that there's $2,000 in the drawer is like, holy shit, boss.
Well, maybe in 1993, 2,000 was worth like $10 million in today's money.
We're never gonna have to work again.
You never know with those exchange rates.
I get exchange rates. It's
or inflation or whatever.
It's counterfeit money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I've got 2 more notes, and then I'm done with the movie, and then we'll go through yours.
I don't have a ton else, so yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I don't know what was with Belushi talking shit on Arnold on the red carpet. I thought that was funny.
I'm sure that was intentional. I'm sure they had like a friendly.
Yeah. I just wish I knew what was going on there because he's like, I wish Arnold would fail. I don't want to ever see him do good.
Well, honestly, it's funny in that the fact that he's John Belushi's brother and that he's on the red carpet going to the premiere of an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. He's like, yeah, fuck him, man. My wife loves him, but I think he sucks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's funny.
And I also kind of liked when Arnold was talking to Arnold, and he's like, oh, the security guys should have let me know they were doing a stunt here. You're the best fucking standing
like,
guy I've ever seen.
Honestly, I hate you.
Yeah, you've made my life really difficult. Fuck you. All right, and then the last thing that I want to ask you is if you got the golden ticket and you could only go into one movie, what movie would you go
This
in?
is such a good question. Because there's so many different motivations
know.
I could have for going to so many different movies. Okay, thinking of just off the top of my head, going right now. And so we're under the same assumption that we go into this movie knowing that we can live by the movie rules and nothing bad will happen to us, stuff like that.
Well, so that's where it gets weird because Danny at that part where he's on the bike and he's playing chicken with the car and he's like, "I'm the comic side relief. This is not going to work. I'm the comic side relief."
So should we narrow it down to an action movie maybe? Because since this is like an action movie.
Okay, yeah, let's do an action
that. Can we
movie.
do that? Okay,
Yeah.
that makes it easier. I'm going to go with Face Off. I would definitely
Go
get
to
into
Face Off, huh?
100%. I would jump into Face Off in a heartbeat.
All right, on whose side? What would you do? Team up with Travolta or team up with Nick Cage? I'm talking Travolta as the cop when he is Nick Cage.
No, I know.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying,
You're saying
yeah.
after the face switch.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Oh Jesus.
Oh Jesus. I'd probably go with Cage still.
Okay. So as you'd help the criminal guy,
No, I would help.
you'd help the cop.
I would help the criminal
Nick Cage
as the cop. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. So kind of Travolta. That's a weird one to say.
Yeah. No.
yeah.
Again,
It's-
it's all the fucking. With this movie and that gets confusing.
Okay, so now that we're narrowing it to an action, my choice was forgetting Sarah Marshall because I felt like that would be just a fun place to go hang
that'd be
out.
great.
You know,
That's a great pick.
Yeah, I'd like
that'd
to
be
hang out
great.
with all those people. I love that fucking.
Or
movie.
kidding me? There's a great. I would fucking drink with most of those people.
Who knew? Like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's great. Or even the guy who knows about the fish, the bartender.
Yeah, hookah lulunim, motherfucker.
Oh yeah. What's state fish Hawaii? It's a really bad
Motherfucker.
I apologize for that. That was awful.
That's like my favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's
pretty good.
I can just
It's a good
watch that anytime. But if we're doing an action movie, probably not a good choice. My first one to come to my head, not a good choice at all. But Saving Private Ryan. I want to be with the dudes.
No.
You know, helping them out.
I kind of can get on board with that.
It'd just be scary as shit. It'd be people
Well,
fighting
no,
World
but-
War
but-
II, you know?
If you're going to the movie though, movie rules apply.
So if I can't die,
Yeah.
then that's cool. But Giovanni Ribisi dies in that movie, you know?
that's the saddest death in the whole movie.
It's real sad. Right after he talks about how
I
he
do-
wouldn't wake up for his mom.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Based off that setup, I got really high one night and I watched Saving Private Ryan. I fucking cried.
Really?
When
Yeah.
he died, it was
It's an emotional death.
Yeah, it really is. It's
I get super sad. He does such a good job, that scene of
easily-
them in the church.
All right, worst death, him or Mellish?
Is that Vin Diesel?
No, Mellish is the guy who gets into it in the final scene where the
Oh, the guy stabs him because fucking what's his name didn't come back up.
because not only did Upham fight for his life when they captured him, he also didn't get the ammo up in time.
That's what I'm
for them
saying.
to-
That yeah. And then he just lays there, and the German guy who just fought to
But
the
then
death
Upham
with this
ends
other
up
guy's
killing
like,
him.
"You're such a little bitch. I'm not even gonna fuck with you." Yeah, and then Upham is just a little bitch. It turns out.
Well, he ends up killing him in the end.
Yeah, but that guy. Yeah, those are rough deaths. But I'm still gonna
it
say
took two
Giovanni
deaths for him
Ribisi.
to do it.
Even Vin Diesel's death in that movie is rough to watch. I think he's bleeding out
Yeah,
there. He's
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
save the little girl.
Yeah, but
you know?
once you've seen 11 Fast and Furious films, you're like, that's fine.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, you do all right.
Yeah, it's
You're
hard.
good.
It's hard to sympathize with Vin Diesel after 11 Fast and Furious films.
They're just gonna keep making him. They're going to space in this next one.
No, I thought they were ending at 10.
Another good world to get sucked into. A
Yeah?
Fast and the Furious movie, like Fast and Furious 1, maybe though. Go back to the Bush years, man.
4 or 5. I like those. I'd like to be. I want Brian to still be alive, but I also want Brian and Dom to be like cool with each other.
Okay, that's fair.
So I want to be in that world.
Okay, I'd go to Tokyo Drift too. That's a fun one.
Nah, fuck that. I wouldn't do that.
All right, but those are my notes. I love this movie.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what I missed here. There was okay. So back to what you were talking about when Benedict first came to Jack's ex-wife's house, and then Benedict had a knife to Danny's throat, and then there was his daughter who had a gun pointed at him, and she was like, "Put it down, put it down."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Well, if you kill me, I'll kill him." It's like, what? No, if she shoots you, you're not going to be able to kill him. So what is that? I don't know how that.
I don't know. If she shot him in the head, he wouldn't be able to. But if she fucked up and like shot him in the arm, he could stab him. He had
That's
that knife
fair.
right
So
by
maybe,
his head,
maybe
you know?
she missed.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe she missed.
I don't think she would have
I
though,
don't think
based
she
on the
would
way
either.
she fucked that dude up in the room. I also liked how she was like acting like she was getting beat up the entire time that she was kicking that guy's ass. At first, I
I
was
mean,
like,
she did have some. She had.
at first I
bruises.
was like, why is she screaming this much?
She
yeah,
screams.
She did,
Okay,
like,
we need to talk about this.
yeah, the scream was bad.
The screaming was, I think, intentional, just and satirical, but was insane.
That's what she was screaming to
she
try to
had-
show that
She had to have lost all of her entire voice. Like, imagine shooting that whole day, having to scream the way she screamed.
Oh, they probably did one take a day.
I don't know,
you can only
man.
scream one time. Yeah, I don't know.
Depends on the director.
That's true. McTiernan, get back to us. Let us know how that shooting schedule was. I also like what the vengeance is mine. I like the explosion.
Yeah, that's fine. I like
yeah,
that. That
yeah,
was
it
cool.
good.
It was his. So okay. Let's talk about this. I wanted to ask you about this. Is he missing an eye or not? Because when he came back after he left that eye, the
Right.
one that exploded, it looked like he took an eye out, or it looked like a contact lens.
Right.
And he still had an eye. Is he missing an eye or not?
I was wondering that too this time because I was like, he just took his eye out,
Yeah,
but you can clearly
but
see
he
an
still
eye
has
in
an
there.
eye.
Yeah.
Or was it like they ran out of money and they couldn't like?
And also, how is that the same eye if that's the eye that blew up at the house? Like, if he left that red eye out, I don't know.
Or maybe he had another eye in his pocket or something.
Maybe,
but then he
yeah.
went down and put he had like a case of
Oh,
glass
he went
eyes.
down on it for a wicked long time.
A wicked long time.
Yeah, no, he not only just the little case, did it look like he had a fucking like fountain looking thing that had a bunch of little eyes on it?
But then he
Yeah.
had like a case like for his favorites.
For his 4 favorites?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I like the line, gotta catch the red eye.
So stupid.
So bad. So bad.
Honestly, I caught him saying that, but I didn't catch the meaning until you just said it, and it's
Because he had a red eye.
really stupid.
Got to catch a red eye.
And pretty much what I have is that's not even worth saying. This movie tries to do more than it's capable of. It goes from action to comedy to existential dread to drama. And while Jack is dying of a gunshot wound, like there's Ian McKellen literally as death coming after him.
Didn't know Ian McKellen was in this fucking movie either. I didn't remember
he's barely in it.
Yeah, he's death.
Well, he's death in a movie that comes out of the movie, and it's literally death coming after them. It's like
Yeah, but
again, you're shoving it down my throat.
But also where it doesn't make sense is that he's death. We see him come out of the movie, but then he's like, obviously the real death.
Yeah. But he's
like
in a
Danny.
movie.
Yeah, exactly. He should have only had Arnold on his list and
And then
not
they only-
Danny.
right? Because he's not really death. He's death in a fictitious film.
Right.
So that didn't add up.
I had a
either.
problem with that. I will say that. But I did like the idea of don't go to the hospital, let's get him back to the movie. And Danny pulls out the gun and just everyone gets at it. They keep doing that.
And that's the thing where it's kind of riding that very fine line of, is this funny or is it serious? I don't know.
I think maybe it's an action dramedy.
But then it poses
It's not
so
really
many
drama that much.
But then
though.
it poses so many existential questions to whether
That's
or not
true.
these characters are self-aware, sentient. I don't know.
Well, by the end of the movie, when Schwarzenegger's back in there and he's arguing with the chief, and he's like, "We're all just living our lives by Hollywood writers," I would say he's self-aware at that
That's
point.
what I'm saying. So he's dropping this bomb where at first I was like, how is Jack supposed to go back to his fictional movie world knowing he's not real? What's he going to do? Like, how does he have purpose knowing that he is a slave to whatever these people write? But then it's like, oh no, he seems like he's self-aware. So what effect does this have on the movie universe in the future of scripts that are written? Like, are these characters fictional now, or are they sentient beings?
I don't know. I think they just exist in your imagination. Whatever you think Jack Slater's doing right now, he's probably doing. And I think he's pounding his pud in a corner of a fucking bowling alley.
He's jerking off in a bowling alley?
Those were just words that came to mind. I wanted to say pounding his pud, and then in a corner came up, and then it's kind of like an ad-lib at a bowling alley. Yeah, I don't know.
Jack was pounding his verb, or pounding his noun, pud, in a
Place.
bowling alley,
Yeah.
in place, Green Bay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I think Jack Slater's doing. He's given up the good life of Hollywood to be a weird sexual pervert at bowling alleys in fucking Wisconsin.
Oh, that'd be the best. Jack.
What's the point of my life? I'm not going to be an action hero. I want to jerk off in bowling alleys.
I might as well just go to Green Bay and masturbate into bowling balls.
I like the Packers. Pack it in.
Aaron Rodgers.
State Farm. Hey, fuck the Packers.
Can I get the Rodgers rate? All right, moving. Now, do you know what time it is?
It's time for Tipsy Trivia.
That was pretty good.
Pretty late. I think
A
it's
little late,
A
yeah.
little late. I'm never gonna get that right.
Next
All right.
time I have a urinal fart, I'll see how it actually goes. I'll let you know when to press the button.
Oh, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
let you
like
know.
some real
Yeah.
life
I'll go
experience.
do some
That
research.
would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, some actual research would be nice. I think we could do
I'll
better.
get back to you on that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So this is the portion of the podcast where we have 5 trivia-based questions from the film. If Keenan gets 3 of the 5 correct, I have to shotgun and he doesn't. If he gets less than 3 of the 5 correct, he has to shotgun and I don't. But inevitably, we will all end up shotgunning. Number 1.
Nummer 1.
True or false? This was Arnold's first time being an EP, which is industry jargon for executive producer.
On a film. I'll say true.
Is true.
All right.
As the EP, he was very intent on this being a PG-13 film, so it could appeal to a broader audience. Good
Again,
idea.
Getting meta, where he talks about when he's on the red carpet
Yeah.
and talks about how they only kill 48 people in this movie.
Or even when you go back to the fact that Danny
couldn't say
comes up.
fuck, yeah.
Comes up. Well, we don't even know what he wrote down.
And
We
technically,
assume it's fuck.
it shouldn't be fuck because if it was PG-13, even in the 90s, I'm pretty sure they could have said
You
it
can
once.
get one.
Yeah.
Maybe
it
not
was
in the
cunt.
90s. Maybe
No,
like
because
late 90s.
Big Trouble in Little China, they have a line where he's just like, is this door hollow? Door hollow? Fuck it.
That is true.
That's in the 80s.
I actually think that was rated PG.
See, they could have
Yeah.
got one in there.
All right, number 2. Which of these 4 titles was the original before they changed it to Last Action Hero?
I also don't love the title.
All right, well, there was 4. All right, so
Let's see if one of these 4 are
there
better.
was one that they were originally going to call it, then they changed it to Last Action Hero. So was the original title A, Metamania, B, Extremely Violent, C, Hollywood Heroes, or D, Big Mistake?
Oh, fuck. So I'm going to rule out Metamania.
Okay.
And so that leaves me with Big Mistake, Extreme Violence, or Hollywood Heroes.
Big Mistake, Extremely Violent, or Hollywood Heroes?
Hollywood Heroes.
Wrong. B, the original title for this film was Extremely Violent.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Extremely Violent? That's
It's a
way
stupid
worse.
name. It's a dumb name.
Because I don't know who the last
No,
action
like
hero is.
when I realized that was the name, like, oh, I can write way better names than this.
Yeah.
So I wrote 3 other ones, and I was like, oh, Metamania. I'm surprised you didn't rule out Extremely Violent before Metamania.
You know what? Now that you say this, so this is all coming back to me. Well, Metamania, because you keep saying that it was super meta.
It's
So
very meta.
Yeah, I knew that was a Robism. But in the Hamlet scene in the school, right before they show it, she
Yeah.
says Hamlet was the first action hero. So I guess that's where the title comes from, because now Schwarzenegger is the last action hero. But I don't understand.
Oh,
really
I
didn't.
did not pick up on that. But you're right. She does say when they're watching Hamlet that he's
The
well,
first
it's
action
Shakespearean.
hero.
He's the first action hero. Interesting. That's very interesting, Keenan.
But I don't understand. I don't think that it makes Schwarzenegger the last action hero. But whatever. Anyway,
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah. I've never understood the title of this movie.
I'll leave that to the lawyers and
The politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Scientists and doctors.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Which actor was originally selected to play Benedict before Charles Dance?
Ooh.
Was it A, Patrick Stewart, B, Timothy Dalton, C, Alan Rickman, or D, Ian McKellen?
I'm going to say Alan Rickman because of Die Hard.
That's actually a really great guess, but it actually was Timothy Dalton.
Damn. See,
Because-
he was the one I didn't think.
No, I know, because so same director directed
Yeah, For Your Eyes Only?
For Your Eyes Only, which both people were on. You had T. Dalt and
No, but he was Living Daylights and License to Kill. For Your Eyes Only is a Roger Moore Bond.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, then that spoils my theory.
But maybe it's because it was Bond. I don't know.
Well, no,
Still Bond and Bond.
but Benedict was on For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, so there you go.
So, well, that surprised me. So, T-Dalt was originally supposed to be.
Timothy Dalton, huh?
Yeah. I'm not sure he would have been better, to be honest with you.
No, I'm glad it was Charles Dance.
Yeah, I think T-Dalt.
The only person I would have liked to see.
T-Dalt's kind of role.
I was hoping, like, Sir Patrick Stewart, I would have been okay with.
No, I know. I
That
thought
would have been
he
cool.
could have been
Yeah.
sinister. Have you seen that? Fuck, what's that movie? Oh, it's going to kill me.
Logan?
Green Room.
No.
Oh, dude, Sir Patrick Stewart is a savage in that movie.
Really?
Yes.
Have you seen that movie, Sexy Beast? With Ben Kingsley? He's a crazy person. Ben Kingsley would have been
it's
good,
an
too.
art house film. I
Yeah.
have watched it. It came out in the 90s. A pool's involved heavily
Right,
for the
yeah.
entire movie.
Yep.
Yes, I have seen it.
Ray Winstone
Yep.
is the main guy.
It's a pretty good movie, actually.
It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
Ben
good.
Kingsley, and it's just
He's
because they're
terrifying.
bald,
He's terrifying in that movie.
bald British guys, but him and Sir Patrick Stewart, I always think of them.
All right, so we'll move on to number 4. Over under 3.5. How many Oscar winners were featured in this film?
Ooh, that's a good question. Over, under,
Don't worry about like all of the like
cameos?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not a huge part of it.
Well, I don't think Arnold's ever won an Oscar. I wouldn't think he has.
No, absolutely
Uh,
not. He never will.
Maybe Danny DeVito, though. I don't know. I'll say over.
It is over. It's 4.
Fuck.
Anthony Quinn, F. Murray Abram, Art Carney. Art Carney was the older guy.
Nick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Mercedes Rule.
I don't know who that is.
I'm not sure that is either.
Mercedes Rule. It sounds like a car commercial.
Mercedes Rule. You drive a Toyota? Oh, Mercedes Rule.
Exactly. That's what your Lexus sucks. Mercedes Rule. Maybe she's like a fucking composer or something.
No, I don't know. I'd like to shed light on what she actually is. I really don't know.
Nissan suck. Mercedes Rule.
Just shit on anyone with a decent car.
Yeah, any kind of fuck Volkswagens.
Mercedes Rule.
But they always have to rule.
It's like doing that Adam Sandler thing, like Doyle rules. Just like
Exactly,
just drive
yeah.
around in Mercedes, like go up to a guy that's in a Daewoo and be like, Mercedes Rule.
Someone goes and dumps a bucket of fucking something on Matthew McConaughey. Fuck your Lincolns. Mercedes Rule.
All right.
Anyway. All right, this is for all the marbles.
All right. So
marbles.
are you 2 and 2?
I'm 2 and 2.
All right, 2 and 2. All right. So this
This
is
is
gonna
make
be
or
for
break,
our
baby.
Make or break. Body count over under
Are you setting at 48?
85. No. That's for the movie within the movie, not this
Oh.
movie. So body count over under 85.
Shit. I'm going to say under.
83.
All right. Woo! You got a pound of hand. All right. Well, I'll still shotgun anyway. Can I go to the bathroom before I do, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
All
I can. Let me make a note of the time. And I can edit it later. We're at.
You got to piss like a pregnant woman.
I'll put it in here. 1:12:27. You all do impressions of, man.
That's an impression of your radio voice.
Well, the podcast voice.
No, I'm not doing your podcast voice. You do your radio. You know what you do.
I know what I do.
Yeah, it's real, but it's right. I'm giving it on that. Whoop. But inevitably, we all end up shotgunning. Already put it down next to you, Brett.
Oh, thanks, Brett. Get your keys.
Huevos.
That's eggs.
Oh.
Llaves is keys.
Isn't huevos balls?
Well, yeah, balls, eggs. Yeah. It's like when we say balls, we mean testicles. They say eggs, they mean testicles.
Oh, okay.
I guess you could say it's a euphemism.
I kind of get it. Eggs. Kind of looks like a couple.
Yeah,
eggs
no,
in a
I
sack.
kind of get it. I kind of don't because it's like, like whose fucking balls look like eggs?
Well, never
Like,
mind.
I guess we should call them marbles. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta take down a time code in my mind so I can write it down so I can edit easier.
Like the organic brown eggs. That's what my balls look like.
Well, you can just bring race into it.
No, but you know, nutsack's a little darker.
Dak and nutsack.
It's like I got a tanning thing in my pants.
So 115, 40.
All right, shotgun. Last
3,
action hero. Woo!
2, 1.
Ooh.
Let's say 115. What?
115.52 or something.
40,
45.
49. I think I said 49. Write that down. At least it'll be somewhat close. I can go from there.
Should be more used to it.
Come on now. Write down in my notes. 1. All right, Kuhn. Are you ready for the next segment?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
Drinking Buddies.
This is the portion of the podcast where we choose a character from the film that we would get irresponsibly shit-faced, drunk, shivoed with. Keenan, who is your drinking buddy?
Believe it or not, I'm gonna go with the bad guy. Say goodnight to the bad guy.
You're such a second night to the back. No, don't do it.
You can do it if you want to do it.
Can
Me, I'm almost coming to me, Chico. The world and everything in it. I think I put the Chico
I
in
always
the right
tell
place.
the truth, even when I lie.
Yeah.
So second night to the bad guy.
I should watch that again. It's been a while. But I'm going to drink with Charles Dance. Not Charles Dance, but Benedict.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
You know why? Because he's got the ticket most of the movie, and it's either him or the kid. And I kind of, I've been watching horror movies for Halloween, even though that's past now. But, I'd go into some of those creepy movies with him. Get super drunk.
That is true. That's a great point because if he has that ticket, you could go into a. That's a good point. So,
Yeah. I'd be like, hey, instead of like killing everyone and stuff like that, could we just get a little drunk and
just,
go?
like,
Let's
hang
go
out
to
in the
Animal
movie.
House
Yeah,
or something.
that'd be great.
That's cool. You don't have to kill everyone, man. And then he'd probably shoot me. But yeah, I'm gonna drink with him.
Yeah, the problem is he has more.
I'm taking the risk.
He has more sinister intentions than you do. So if only, but the thing is, you can't make the kid your drinking buddy either because that's
Right,
that's,
exactly,
That's
yeah.
not cool. That's not cool.
You could make Nick your drinking buddy. He had the ticket for a long, for like 50 years or something.
And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make Nick my drinking buddy for the same reason you made Benedict yours, only that I think I could go places with Nick and he wouldn't want to
go with you.
take over the world.
Yeah, I feel like you could tell Nick, hey, get me this movie and let's go just party.
That's also the thing. Nick also has access to a lot of movies, so you could be like, hey, man, why don't we go, hang out in this movie and do that? And I think that would be a blast. You wouldn't have to worry about, like, the sinister nature of Benedict being like, hey, I want to make sure that we fuck shit up.
So here's one thing that I hadn't ever noticed about this
He's
movie.
he's like the newer Mickey Rooney, that fucking guy.
That fucking guy. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I think that because I remember Mickey Rooney being like the manager of a movie theater on a Disney Channel original movie right before his death. I think that's what I mean by that.
That's what you got there. All right. I think they might have cut something out of this movie because one thing I hadn't noticed is I think when Danny's going back, he's supposed to be there at midnight. Something that could have totally been cut out of the movie was when he's robbed in his own apartment. Like he's about to leave.
Yeah,
to
that's
go meet
completely
up with Nick.
unnecessary.
That's like 5 minutes.
What's
too.
that supposed to show? Other
don't
than the
know.
fact that he goes to the police station.
I think that he's a little bitch and that he's like, because the guy's like, he's not the action
He's
hero.
a little bitch. He was handcuffed to the...
I know, but the guy puts the knife on the thing and he's like, I'll turn my back. Not that I would want to stab a guy in the back, but, you know, it's like, oh, he's not the action hero that he looks up to all the
Okay,
time.
so they're trying to communicate the fact that he's not comfortable
Right.
with defending
He
himself.
watches all these movies with it,
Yeah.
and he wants to do it, but in the real world, he can't.
But in the real world, he's an 11-year-old?
Right. But at one point, so when he finally gets to the theater, he's trying to get in the front door, and there's a sign on the front door that's like, coming soon, multiplex 18 or something.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that Nick's theater might be about to shut down. Obviously, it's super run down and everything like that.
You know, it's been like it was
Spray
spray painted
painted all over, yeah.
restrooms here. Like,
Yeah.
of course, it's a shit theater.
Yeah.
Why else would a kid be able to sit in a theater by himself and watch a feature film with just a projectionist?
Right. So just be glad that they didn't fucking have a whole nother 20 minutes about how Nick's trying to save his theater from the megaliths and everything
I don't
like that,
think
you
it's
know?
Nick's theater. I think Nick works there.
Oh, I thought it was his place.
Why would he be a projectionist if it was his theater?
Well, at this point, whoever owned it probably doesn't own it anymore, so he's probably just a homeless guy that lives
Right.
there and keeps it
He's
up.
basically a Walmart greeter who can change reels.
That's fair. That's fucked up, but that's fair.
No, I'm not trying
That's
to be
your drinking buddy, though, so, you know,
No, I
whatever.
know. But I'm good with it because if I travel with him, like, we're doing, Bill and Ted kind of thing, where I can travel into any movie I
Yeah.
want.
And he kind of said that he doesn't want to go anywhere. He's like, nah, fuck it, kid. You can do what you
The
want.
dude literally had the magic ticket for conservatively
150
30,
years?
40 years, if
Yeah.
that. And it was like, I don't want, because what if it's not real? Because then I won't like Houdini.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I'll drink with him.
Yeah. So I guess that will officially end the episode.
Wait, no. Rotten Tomatoes
Oh,
over
you're right. I
under,
apologize.
and,
You're absolutely right. Rotten Tomatoes over under.
oh,
I
wow.
will set the critics at a 35%.
Oh, that's pretty low. I'm going to say over.
Is over. 38% from the critics.
Still low, I think, but whatever.
Audience, I will set at a 50%.
Ooh, right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
Well, I'll say under.
It was 48%.
Weak.
IMDb
Y'all bitches.
was,
I don't know. I'm going to guess 5.6.
it was The Devil's Lettuce, 6.6.
Okay. The devil's lettuce.
And I give this a Real Buzz ranking of a 4.8,
Are you serious?
and I'm not sure I'd recommend it.
I 1,000%
For adults.
recommend
For
it.
adults. Again,
Well, adults
you're
listen to
doing
this podcast.
I know, but you're doing this under the guise of that you love this movie already. Like, watching it for the first time as an adult, I can't be like, yeah, sure.
I'm going to give it a 7.5, and I highly recommend it.
There you go.
So
And-
fuck off. Not you, Rob.
No,
but,
no,
You know,
no, but me, fuck off.
But yeah, you too. Fuck off to the haters and the 52% of you that didn't like it.
All right, so thank you once again for listening to another edition of Real Buzz Takes. We are the Real Buzz crew. Keenan, take us out.
If you don't like this movie, you're making a big mistake.
Very nice.
We are the Real Buzz Crew, and we review the best of the worst for you.
This concludes our broadcast day.
There's no boobs in this movie, though.